Have you ever loved someone so deeply that words failed you, and all you could do was silently pray for their peace? Because deep down, you knew, real love is not about holding on. It's about placing the one you love in God's hands. Prayer. It may seem small, but it is the language of heaven. The way a human heart connects to God's boundless, unconditional love. When you pray for someone, you are not just talking to God about them. You are loving them in the holiest way possible. The world teaches us to love through emotions, words, and actions. But heaven teaches us to love through prayer. Because prayer is the kind of love that doesn't demand to be returned, doesn't cling, and doesn't make noise. It is the whisper of the soul, where love ceases to be human and becomes divine. Imagine this. You kneel and whisper softly, "Father, please bless that person. Keep them safe, even if I can no longer be by their side." In that quiet moment, heaven listens. God hears not only your words, but also the heartbeat behind them. He sees your love, not the kind that wants to possess, but the kind that gives, surrenders, and trusts his plan completely. Jesus himself is the greatest example of this kind of love. He didn't just love through miracles or healing. He loved through moments of silent prayer. Before choosing his disciples, he prayed. Before performing miracles, he prayed. Before facing the suffering of the cross, he prayed. And even while nailed to it, he still whispered, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Luke 23:34. Pause and think about that. A prayer uttered through pain, yet overflowing with limitless love and mercy. Jesus didn't curse, didn't retaliate, didn't demand justice. He prayed, and in that prayer, love transcended suffering and became grace, forgiveness, and salvation. That is the purest form of love, the language heaven understands. When you pray for someone, you are telling God, "I can't be there for them, but you can. I can't protect them, but you will." And in that very moment, you entrust the one you love to the one who loves them even more, Jesus. Here's the miracle. When you pray for others, God also works within your heart. Every prayer you speak becomes a medicine that heals you from the inside out. Every tear you shed in prayer becomes a seed planted in the field of blessing. Slowly, you begin to realize love no longer hurts. It transforms, strengthens, and brings peace. Prayer doesn't make you weak. It fills you with divine strength. Because when you pray, you're no longer acting alone. You are partnering with heaven itself. And when heaven moves with you, no prayer is wasted, and no love is forgotten. Maybe, even right now, someone comes to your mind. Someone far away. Someone who may not even know you still think of them. But if you whisper a simple prayer, "Lord, bless them. Keep them close to your heart," then, in that very moment, an invisible thread is woven between three hearts, yours, the one you're praying for, and God's together. They beat in harmony with the rhythm of divine love. That is the secret of love's true language. It doesn't need declarations, presents, or responses. It only needs a heart that knows how to pray. In the next part, we'll dive deeper into this mystery. Why praying for others brings blessings back into your own life, and how God transforms your whispered prayers into miracles of love. There's a divine mystery that many people overlook. Every time you pray for someone else, God quietly begins to work within you. Prayer isn't only a gift you offer to others. It's also a seed of blessing that you plant into your own life. When you open your heart to bless another person, you step into the flow of God's grace, where love doesn't just move in one direction, but radiates like light. And sooner or later, that light returns to you. Because in the spiritual realm, every sincere prayer comes back to the one who prays, in the form of peace, strength, and divine favor. Jesus said, "Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Matthew 5-7. Prayer is mercy in its purest form. When you kneel down and ask God to bless someone else, you are living that verse completely. And that's why God's blessings flow not only to the person you pray for, but also to you, the one who chooses to love through faith. Have you ever prayed for someone and then felt an unexplainable peace settle over your heart? It's not because the situation changed right away. It's because God changed you. He changed the way you see, the way you love, the way you forgive. Prayer transforms your vision so that you begin to see others through His eyes filled with compassion, not judgment. The more you pray, the more healing takes place inside you. With every whispered prayer, God washes away your bitterness, jealousy, and pain. He replaces sorrow with peace, worrying with faith, and fear with trust. In truth, prayer creates a divine circle of love. You pray for others, God pours His blessing upon them, and then He pours peace back into you. That's how heaven works. No prayer is wasted. No act of love goes unnoticed. Because God never leaves a heart that loves through prayer empty-handed. Someone might not hear your words, but God always hears your prayers. And often, in the silence where you feel nothing is happening, He is orchestrating everything, beyond what you can imagine. You might pray for someone's peace, and discover that God grants peace first to you. If you've reached this point, perhaps you've already prayed for someone before, a loved one, a friend, or maybe a person who still lingers in your heart. Take a moment now, and write this in the comments as an act of faith. Lord, bless the one I love. Type it not just as words, but as a declaration, because when you share your prayer, you spread the light of God further into the world. Prayer doesn't have to be long or eloquent. Sometimes, all it takes is a single whisper. Lord, please touch their heart. And heaven stirs, because God doesn't count the number of your prayers. He listens to the heart behind them. When you pray out of love, God turns that prayer into a miracle. He might not answer right away, but He always answers at the perfect time. And one day, you'll look back and realize, God didn't just bless the person I prayed for. He was preparing an even greater blessing for me. Every prayer you lift for someone is a seed planted in faith. In time, those seeds bloom into unexpected blessings, prosperity, joy, peace, and strength. So don't stop praying. Keep lifting up the names of those you love, those you struggle to understand, even those who have hurt you. Because when you pray for them, you're not just releasing them, you're freeing your own soul. In the next part, we'll explore a deeper truth: how to make your prayers truly alive, how to pray in a way that touches God's heart and brings real transformation into your life. There is something profoundly beautiful that many people often overlook. Prayer is not just a spiritual act directed toward God. It is the highest expression of love. When you pray for someone, you are saying to God, I love them enough to place them in your hands. You cannot pretend to love someone if you never mention their name in your prayers. Because true love always seeks the best for the other person, and there is nothing greater than placing them in the grace of God. When you love someone with a genuine heart, you pray for their peace in the midst of storms. You ask God to lift them up when they fall, and when they make mistakes, you do not curse or condemn them. You quietly whisper, Lord, please forgive them, for they do not fully understand your ways. In that moment, you are speaking the purest language of love, the language of prayer. Earthly love can come and go. It can fade with time or change with emotions. But love through prayer never fades. It needs no response, no recognition, no gratitude. It only needs to be lifted in silence, between you and God, because He sees it all. Every breath, every word, every tear you shed for those you love. And He will bless that love in His divine timing. in his perfect way. Many people pray to receive what they desire, but when you pray for someone else, especially when they don't even know it, you step into a higher dimension of faith. You are practicing selfless love. Love that does not possess, does not demand, only gives, just like Jesus, who prayed for us even when we rejected him. While hanging on the cross, he still said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." That was, and forever will be, the purest form of love this world has ever known. When you pray for someone, you are sending them an invisible yet powerful gift. They might not know it, but their soul feels it. Perhaps they are lonely, lost, or burdened, and your prayer becomes the warmth that reaches them in the cold. Prayer not only transforms the person you pray for, it also transforms you. It softens your heart, widens your compassion, and makes you more like Christ. If one day your relationship with someone starts to grow cold, or love seems to fade away, don't try to control, fix, or blame. Instead, try praying for them. When you place them into God's hands, you surrender control to true love. Love that is not bound by ego or fear. Prayer helps you see that person through the eyes of God, with kindness, forgiveness, and hope. Love and prayer walk hand in hand. Without prayer, love can easily be wounded by human weakness. Without love, prayer becomes dry, mechanical, and lifeless. But when the two unite, when you both love and pray, miracles begin to unfold. Your heart becomes brighter, your life richer in grace, and the people around you are touched by that divine light. So today, if you love someone, a family member, a friend, or even someone who has hurt you, start with prayer. Let your love speak to God, not to the world, because the world may not understand. But God always does, and he will take your prayer and turn it into a seed of blessing that grows in the life of the one you love. The language of love is not vows or promises, but the silent prayer, where true love is born and lives forever in the heart of God. There is a sacred mystery you can only truly understand when you live a life of prayer, the peace that surpasses all understanding. When you kneel before God and open your heart, it is not just you who is speaking. It is God who begins to listen and respond in silence. In that quiet space, prayer becomes the breath of your soul, the invisible bridge that connects the finite human heart to the eternal Creator. Prayer is not only about asking for what you want. It is about surrendering everything to God, your joy and your pain, your clarity and your confusion. When you truly pray, you are telling God, "I trust you more than I trust myself," and in that very moment, grace begins to flow into your life. Many people think prayer is a ritual, something done out of habit, a series of memorized words, or a practice reserved for moments of crisis. But true prayer is not bound by time, words, or circumstance. You can pray while walking, working, or even breathing. Every heartbeat that remembers God, every thought lifted toward heaven, that is prayer. When you make God the center of everything you do, your entire life becomes a living prayer. There will be times when it feels like God is silent. You pray, yet there seems to be no answer. You wait, but nothing happens. And yet, in that silence, God is working. He is testing your faith, shaping your patience, and preparing something far greater than what you asked for. Because God never truly says no. He simply says, "Not yet," or "I have something better for you." When you pray with love, your prayers do more than change circumstances. They change you. Prayer teaches humility, reminding you that everything you have is a gift from God. Prayer teaches forgiveness, because in his presence, you remember how much you have been forgiven. And prayer teaches love, Because when you spend time with the source of eternal love, hatred cannot survive in your heart. Have you ever noticed that after praying, your heart feels lighter even though your problems haven't disappeared? That's because in prayer, you are no longer walking alone. You are walking with God, your Father who listens, your friend who understands, the one who never condemns you for your weaknesses. In that sacred dialogue, your soul finds healing, your mind finds rest, and your spirit remembers where it belongs, in His presence. When prayer becomes a daily habit, you begin to see the world differently, not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because you become stronger. You learn to see challenges as part of God's loving plan. You learn to trust even when you can't see the outcome. And you realize that every time you whisper, "Lord, help me," you are one step closer to His heart. Prayer, like love, requires persistence. Some prayers are not answered in a day, a year, or even a lifetime. But God remembers every single one, every tear, every sigh, every unspoken word lifted to heaven. Nothing is forgotten. Even the quietest prayer, uttered in the deepest moment of pain, rises straight to His throne and touches His grace. So never stop praying, whether you are rejoicing or suffering, whether you stand on the mountaintop or wander through the valley of despair. Keep speaking with God. Prayer is the breath that keeps your soul alive, the channel through which divine peace fills your heart. Because where there is no prayer, love fades away. But where prayer exists, love is reborn, stronger, deeper, and holier than before. That is the true miracle of the language of love that God has given us, prayer. In the end, we come to realize a simple but profound truth. Everything in life, love, peace, joy, and healing, begins with a sincere prayer. Prayer is not just a religious act. It is the breath of the soul, the voice of the heart reaching back to the endless source of love, God Himself. When you pray, you are saying, "Lord, I cannot, but you can." And that is where every miracle begins. There will be moments in your life when you feel weary, lost, and as if the world is against you. But in those moments, remember this: no prayer is ever wasted. God may not answer immediately, but He always listens. You may not see change yet, but He is already at work behind the scenes. True love is not about getting everything you want. It's about trusting that even when you can't see, God is still working for your good. Prayer is a sacred communion between your soul and the Creator. Every time you pray, even for just a brief moment, your spirit touches heaven. Prayer is the flicker of light in darkness, the whisper in loneliness, the unseen hand holding you when you are about to fall. And in those quiet moments, God gently says, "I am here. Do not be afraid." When you learn to pray with love, you also learn to live with love. Every word you speak, every act you do, can become a living prayer. When you forgive someone, you are praying through mercy. When you help someone in need, you are praying through kindness. When you choose silence instead of anger, you are praying through peace. Your entire life, then, becomes not just a journey, but a song of prayer rising to God day by day. God does not ask for long or eloquent prayers. What He desires most is a sincere heart. Sometimes a simple whisper, "Lord, thank you," is enough to make heaven smile. Prayer is the one place where you don't need to be perfect or strong, because it is there that God becomes your strength and restores your soul. And here's a beautiful truth. When you pray for others, blessings don't just flow to them, they return to you as well. Because love never travels in one direction. Every prayer you send becomes a seed of grace, and God will make it bloom in His perfect time. A prayer you speak today may be the open door to tomorrow's blessings, not only for you, but also for the ones you love. The world today is noisy, hurried, and full of distractions. Many have forgotten the power of a single moment of stillness before God, but not you. You are here, listening, reflecting, and longing to hear the voice of your soul again. And that longing itself is already a prayer. God is not looking for perfection. He is looking for hearts that are humble and open enough to let him in. So let prayer become your language of love. Speak to God every day, not just because you need something, but because you want to be near him. Offer him your whispers in the morning, your tears at night, and your smiles in the midst of trial. Where there is prayer, there is love. And where there is love, there is God. Prayer is not just an action, it is a way of life. Let it become the rhythm of your heart, the breath of your soul, and the light that guides every step you take. And if the words shared today have touched your heart, I invite you, gently and sincerely, to subscribe to this channel so that together we can continue walking this journey of faith, hope, and divine love. Because perhaps one day your prayer will become the inspiration that leads another soul back to God. May the grace and peace of the Lord be with you, today, tomorrow, and always.